some times in life that you just want to go to the front of the line. You may find out though sometimes it's not that easy. But if you stick with it, you may just be able to accomplish it. As long as you don't hit the camera when the thing falls. It's also not the easiest thing to do it on ice. Alright. Turn the camera here a little bit. We can get her on. That wasn't too bad. About 10.5 feet long. 17 inches here, maybe 19 with this knob. There's a little knot there. About 20 inches there. Nice little red cedar. Well, maybe bigger than little. I'm Tim from the Gathering Place. You know, we also are about to start a business called Ozark Sawmill and Services. In the future, we're thinking about expanding and upgrading from this Woodland Mills to a Norwood HD 38. One of their Woodland Mills, or I'm sorry, Norwood's one of their biggest, or I think it is the biggest that Norwood has. But for now, while we're waiting for all that to take place, we're still going to saw some lumber with this Woodland Mills 126. It's been a decent sawmill. I've got about 6 years ago in 2015, and it's sold its fair share of lumber. And today we got a cedar log on there. We're just going to do live slabs, maybe anywhere from 2 1/4 or 2 1/8 inches, depending on, you know, how things are working out as we're sawing up the lumber and sort of taking off the first cut. But then you stick around and watch that, and we'll see how it goes. nice cedar log. It's got a lot of knots in it, but that adds some character. Put a little epoxy in there, and that'll look really nice. Just need a place to put it. Cedar's a beautiful wood. Reminds me of a story I want to tell, if you don't mind. With the Eastern Red Cedar. I always had a question with the Eastern Red Cedar. And that is because my wife and I, we do medicinal herbs, and we have a tea called Ozark Cold and Flu, and we have like 10 ingredients in there: sassafras root, black cherry bark, and one of the ingredients is juniper berry. And you know, we always got a big supply down in Alabama where we come from. I lived up in Pittsburgh the first part of my life, and I'm more familiar with the junipers, like the blue rug juniper, Bar Harbor, Fitzers, Skyrockets, and it was like a Fitzer type juniper that we got the juniper berries from. You know, they got some, you know, pretty decent medicinal values for, you know, building up your immune system for your lungs, bronchitis, coughs. It's high in vitamin C. And we got an order the other day, and my wife had just had surgery on her neck. She had an operation, and it went really well, but she needed some time to recuperate. So I needed to go to the kitchen. We have a state certified kitchen here in the Ozarks. We're in north central Arkansas, and so I went up to do the teas, and we needed to get about 6 half pints size. And as I was going through all the ingredients, there was 2 of them that we ran out, and that was sassafras root and the juniper berries. And my question has always been, being here in north central Arkansas, where there's a lot of Eastern Red Cedar, but not a whole lot of juniper as far as the junipers that I'm familiar with. Can you interchange the berries of because they look similar, except for the Eastern Red Cedar, the berries about half the size. And I've always asked the question to whomever I could, and I never got an answer. Well, then interesting how this led on. You know, I'm sure anybody who's watched sawmill videos knows Nathan Elliott from Out of the Woods. And he, last couple of times that I saw him saw up an Eastern Red Cedar, he made reference to some of the comments of people calling it a juniper tree, and as he calls it, an Eastern Red Cedar. And they're saying, no, it's a juniper tree. And I thought that was interesting, because I had this question about the berries. And so Nathan's like, you know, here in northern Tennessee, we call it the Eastern Red Cedar, but if you want to call it juniper, that's fine with you. But here we call it Eastern Red Cedar. So, I thought that was interesting with my little question. And so I did a little research, and then, I find, lo and behold, to answer some of the confusion, is that the Latin name for Eastern Red Cedar it has the word juniper. It's like, I really should have researched before I come on, but it has the word juniper in the Latin. So the Eastern Red Cedar is in the juniper family. So yes, it is a juniper, but really, to be more specific, to define what kind of juniper, it's an Eastern Red Cedar juniper. And so that was interesting, because when I was in a bind needing more juniper berries, I finally said, well, I'm just going to go pick the berries on the Eastern Red Cedar, because I have no choice. But then after I grinded up the berries, they needed to be dehydrated, so I put them in our dehydrator, and I went to research just a simple question: what is the medicinal value of Eastern Red Cedar berries? Lobe whole is about the same as the juniper berry because they're interchangeable. And so I thought that was an interesting question, but also I thought it was interesting with, the milling is, we do a lot of medicinal herbs. We have a kitchen. We have a garden that we grow organically. We're not certified organic. We used to be certified naturally grown, but we're no longer that. We just couldn't even afford to keep that title. So, but we do grow about as organic as you can, and we got a few products on the market. Let's see, like some vegetable soup, pickled okra, pickled green tomatoes, salsa, marinara sauce. We have a hot sauce we call Arkansas Heat. We figure, you can't have your Texas Pete and your Louisiana hot sauce without your Arkansas Heat. You need the three together. That's what I think, anyways. But we also have our medicinal teas and medicinal tinctures that we produce in our kitchen as well. And so I thought it's interesting when I started thinking about sawing up this first log and doing this video, that I'm like, well, the cedar has medicinal value to it. A lot of people know that in the medicinal world, but not a lot of people may not know that who mill the lumber and use the cedar for woods or for some woodman work, craftsmanship. That's easy for you to say. To be able to work with it in wood projects, but and I thought the uniqueness of maybe putting it together, that as we're milling up the cedar, maybe we can learn a little bit that there's medicinal values with the cedar tree and the berries, and with other things. I got some white oak next in line, and there's even medicinal value in white oak. There's black cherry. A lot of people mill up cherry, and there's medicinal values in the inner cherry bark for colds and flus. There's also medicinal value in walnuts. It's a antimicrobial and things. So as we go forward and we're milling certain species, I may give you a little tidbit and a little story behind as we're milling up a certain log of what some of the medicinal values. It's good to know, especially with the times we're in and how things are headed. And it's just, we can know that we have a medicine chest out in our backyard or out in our farm, that if in case things get pretty bad, we'll know how to kind of build up our immune systems and maybe fight off some things. But I just wanted to share that little story. I thought it was interesting how it all come together, and so do this first cedar log in this video, and I'm hoping you're enjoying it. I'm going to finish up cutting the slabs about 2 1/8 inch. There might be a few 2 1/4, and I just thought you'd like to know that stuff. But anyways, I'm going to get back to milling. We'll see how it turns out. Still about 15 on that end, and about 15 on that end. Okay, everyone, we're starting to get into the center of the cedar log. It looks pretty nice. I'm going to put a little water on it to see how it looks with some water. Kind of hard to do this and hold the camera at the same time. Hope the lighting's in here is pretty good, but that looks nice. Oh, I like that. Wow, that's beautiful. It's an awesome tree, this eastern red cedar. Also, as we stated earlier, in the juniper family. Wow. This blade on this Woodland Mills 126 is getting a little dull, but I kind of want to finish this log up with it. I hope I can. before I got some white oak. I got like 3 white oak I got to do, and then I got a couple pine behind that. Here's my pile of cedar, and I got some more oak logs and some ash logs. But here's some of them storing over there. But wow, I really like that. Well, I'm going to continue sawing, and hopefully we can get this log done before the day's over. Okay everyone, we're back after I finished up these slabs the other day. When I was filming at one of the parts when I actually did the best of all the slabs, and I put water on it and everything to show you, I didn't realize till I was editing that I actually had the camera upside down, and what I was filming upside down was the sawdust that the slabs were making. Yeah, I did. But anyway, so we're a few days later to come back and show you the beautiful slabs that log made. And once again, we're kind of battling the sun and the shade and underneath this shed. I think it's coming in pretty good. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's just a lot of beautiful knots, and there's a yellow that comes through and some bark inclusions, and there's some punky wood, but you know, even that adds character. So these are some beautiful slabs here in the Ozarks. I like that yellow streak. It's also a crack. You may have to put something in it to seal it a little better, but it sure brings out that red a lot better. There's a nice little knot. A little more bark inclusion there. And over here, and that's real nice. This one got a little faded because it was on top. I got a little sun in here, but once it dries and you sand it, it'll bring the red right back out. There's some nice sapwood. It's amazing. This one's it's like it got the perfect amount of sapwood to it. Not too much. Just got a little bit to define it. And there's a few more slabs underneath that was taken. So here we are in the gathering place here in the Ozarks. It's a beautiful place here with a lot of bluffs. There's a place called Meadow Creek that we live. But anyways, I wanted to come back out here and show you the slabs, since I really didn't think you wanted to see upside down sawdust. In case you do want to see the sawdust that was made. Not that interesting, right? But there you are. Sometime this week, hopefully I'll be able to start milling up some of those white oak, and we'll see if we could do some filming on those. But I thank you for your time and taking the time to watch, and just pray that you're blessed. Not sure how well that's coming in. Let's see. Am I getting that? There we go. My honeybees love this sawdust. There's about 7 of them here. There's one there. Here comes another one flying in. There's a few over here. I have about 4, I'm hoping 5 hives. I come into the winter with 6 hives, but I know I lost 1. It was the weakest of the 6. And then another one, I don't know if there's just good activity going on or if they're being robbed. I hope it's not being robbed, that I can come into the spring with 5. My goal is to get 10 hives by the end of this year. And anyways, I may not think the sawdust is fascinating or interesting, but evidently the honeybees do.